Hey everybody, and welcome to Woodcrest Bonsai. Well, I've hit a milestone today. This is my 250th video. And so to commemorate that, I've decided to work on the very first tree I ever worked on, which is my Bunjin Premna, which is also my logo tree. So today I'm going to work on wiring some of the main branches so they move down even lower, like that, and like that. And I'm going to wire pretty much every branch down lower. I also plan on working on the apex. I'm going to change the apex a little, but we'll get to that when I'm ready for that. So this will take a lot of wiring. So I've got my wire all ready, and I'm probably going to do some close-ups of the branches that I'm wiring without doing a whole overview of the tree. So I'm going to get to that right now. Okay, so I'm going to lower the tripod a little bit and try to bring it up maybe a little straighter. There we go. And just focus in on this branch right here. So whenever I'm wiring a branch, and this branch is fairly thick, I always test how difficult it is to bend. And then you want to test your wire. How difficult is the wire to bend? And you want your wire to be just a little bit stronger than the branch that you're going to wire. Because using wire that is not strong enough will be basically useless. And then because it's thick here and then it gets thinner and thinner, the strength needed to wire this outside part is much less than bringing the whole branch down. So many times you will change size wire in the middle of the branch, because wiring branches with wire that's too thick can also make it very difficult. And I think I'm probably and I'm also, if you notice, I'm going to bring the wire up into here, and I'm also going to wire this branch. So here we go. Premna has fairly thin bark, so it's very easy to damage said bark. And I'm going to bring this around the trunk like this a couple of times before I even attempt to bend this branch. And I may not have enough wire to bend that branch, but that's okay. So whenever I'm bending a branch, I want to have my thumbs or my fingers where I'm going to do the most bending, to make sure that if the branch does begin to crack, I can feel that. And stop bending before it does crack. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to take some smaller wire and wire the end of the branch Oops, hit the camera. Guess it didn't change much. And then when we get out here, which is even thinner, this wire is actually too heavy. But I think I can pull it off with this wire here. So then we're going to bring this down even more. Like that. Now what I'm looking for is I think I'm going to create individual pads here, so we see we already have space between this part of the branch and this part of the branch, so I can create multiple pads. Another thing you want to do when you're wiring a branch down is make sure that the tips are still pointing up, because if all the tips are pointing down, the tree is just not going to provide energy to that branch. So that looks pretty good now. Why is my camera not straight? Okay. So now let's go to this guy, which is still in the frame, right? Yeah, good enough. And I'm not sure I have enough wire here. And I left a bunch here, so I probably should have placed the wire more efficiently. But that's alright. Let's see what we got here. Pretty heavy duty wire. I think it's like what, 4 millimeters? Wire goes from 1 millimeter up to 6. And 6 is just monstrous. Okay, let's see if we can get this guy down. My hand is just going to have to be in the way, just based on. And I want the angle to be very similar for both of them. So that looks pretty good. And I'm going to take some smaller wire. And this is a very interesting little piece of growth that I'm not really quite sure what I'm going to do with it. Take it up here. And since we're in the middle of November, and if you notice, this tree has no brand new growth at all. That's one of the times I like to wire, because then you have a period of time where the tree can set. The branch can set without having to worry about it cutting into the bark. And always bring the tips up. If you do a branch like that where the tips are down, it'll just wither. So bring that up like that. And that looks pretty good for the first 2 main branches. And once again, I can create pads. In fact, I think I'm going to take this branch here and bring that down. So then we have a pad here, a pad here, and a pad here. And that will mimic this branch here. And that one needs some work, and I'm not doing everything today. I like to work in stages. I'm going to bring this guy down and forward too, like that. So I need a little bit bigger piece of wire. And I'm using my old wire, so I'm like rummaging through it, saying, what will work? This piece will work. Whenever you're wiring, you want to try to follow the spiral of the old wire. You don't want to cut your wires like this. You want all your wires to be parallel. And I will never win a wiring competition. But I'm not worried about that, actually. When I wire, I'm way more concerned with form. I mean function over form. If the wiring job is a little bit crummy, then so be it. So yeah, there we go. We have space, and then some space here. I'm noticing, back to this, there's this one branch here that comes way down and then back up. And I think if I remove that, which I'm going to do right now, that will create the space that I'm really looking for. So let's go back to that branch. And it's this guy right here. And I'm just going to take off. There. Beautiful. Pad, pad, pad. Exactly what I'm looking for. Okay. So let me bring the tripod up a little bit. And we'll start working on some of the higher branches. Can we get a little closer? I want to try to keep the black background in there. I did a 4-foot wide background that I thought was going to work, but it appears as though I still need it wider. Okay, test the branch. And this branch could actually also, let me get around this way. I think this branch could also come forward a little bit, just a little bit like that. So that's what I'm going to do. When I wire it, I'm going to wire it down, but I'm also going to wire it forward. Here's a piece that's just about perfect, probably long enough to do another piece. If you can anchor your wire at least 2 wraps around, then you can use the same wire for 2 different branches. Okay, so let's get over here. And I'm going to spin this baby around so I can see what I'm doing better. And what branch can I do here? Can I do this one with this piece? Probably not. Maybe the back branch. And some of the back branches don't really need to come down all that much. So start here. And you see the wire itself is about as long as the branch when I start. And then as you bring it around, it will make it shorter because of course you're looping it. And I love the analogy of holding a bird in your hand, a live bird in your hand when you wire. So if you're holding a live bird in your hand, and of course we're assuming you don't want to kill it, you want to hold it firmly enough so it doesn't escape, but you don't want to crush it to death either. So that's the same philosophy with wire. You don't want to grind the wire down into the branch because it really doesn't need to be. Okay, so here we go. Bring this guy down. into there. Making sure it follows this line here pretty well. And then I need to bring the, see how these are all pointing down now? I need to bring that up. So a small piece of wire, we'll do that. Bring it back this way. And normally when you're adding thinner wire to a branch, you want to go about 2 times around before you get to that branch that you want to bend. And that will usually anchor the wire in place adequately. And so I just want to bring the apex up like that. You want all your tips pointing up. And then where are we going to go with this other piece? I think I'm going to do this guy here, which is actually a back branch. So I'm going to bring it up into here. And then the same idea, bring it down. And that looks pretty good. Probably need to bring this guy down now. So, can we do that with this? Probably. Are we in the viewfinder? Okay, so I'm going to bring this guy down too, which is another back branch where I'm working from the side of the tree. So as they say in, I think some sport somewhere, up and over. And even though some of this little tiny growth that I'm avoiding, oh, look at that, I broke it off anyway, so guess it wasn't necessary. Oh, we have a machine deciding to back up in the middle of my video. How dare you? Okay, bring this guy down. To about the same angle as that guy. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Man. So bring it back to the front and see where we're at here. Bring it back down. So now we have pretty good agreement with our angles. This growth here is a little long, so I'm going to shorten that. And I'm not sure this back branch really needs to come down, because we've already got space here, and if I bring it down, see that just, so I think, oh, I've already brought that down some. Okay, so I think we're good there. I think we're good there. Now I want to talk about the apex, and I think I can get the apex if we take the tripod all the way up. I think the apex is too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this the new apex. And even though it's hard to see without seeing the whole tree, I think that'll be the best decision, because the tree's a little too tall right now. So bring this guy up as the apex. And then I'm going to cut this whole apex off. And this is another trick I use. Because if we go like this and spin it around even more, you'll see that there's bar branches right here. However, if I cut the apex off, there will be no bar branches. This would be the new apex, and this would be a back branch. So I'm going to take off that apex. Like I said in other videos, if that was a mistake, it'll just increase the amount of time that the trees are finished bonsai. There really is no mistakes. Or there are no mistakes, maybe I should say that. And that's a much thinner branch. And bring this guy down too. So let's use a piece of wire for both. Bring it around at least twice. And then up to the branch that I want. And then bring that baby up as the new apex. Oops, damn! Can't take me anywhere. And then wire this guy. Down into there like that, and then give him a little angular. And there is a piece of new growth here that's pretty vigorous, so I'm going to shorten that. Okay, so now where are we at here? I think those two need to be wired. So this is really old wire, because all this wire is copper coated aluminum, but this wire here has no more copper, so it's pretty old. So we're going to take same thing, wrap the wire around at least twice, and this wire is a little tiny bit too big for the branch, but since it's such a small branch and we're going to be doing some minimal movement on it, I don't think it'll matter. Then bring this around here onto this guy. Now I need to look at the front of the tree so I can get this right. Okay. And then may as well do the full Monty, right? These branches are really close together, but I think I can still pull it off. You know, in many bonsai circles, the philosophy of wiring is if you're going to wire a tree, wire everything. Like if we were going to show this tree, I would be wiring every single last branch. Okay. So now, I'm too worried about having no white. So now let's take a look at this baby. Okay, I went to apex to come a little more like that. This guy here needs to come down more. Take it back a little bit. Oh, God. I need to set my tripod in concrete or something. So there you go. There's a couple of things I don't like. I don't like this branch. I wonder if I could just take that branch off completely. Probably. Never. I've always thought it was a little funky. So there we go. As easy as that. So there we go, my new logo tree. So now the focus is going to be on keeping the space between these pads here and keeping the top nice and tight. And like I said, since it's not really even growing, I'll be able to leave the wire on fairly long. So can we get a little closer? Make the white disappear. So there we go. I've been doing bonsai for a long time. I've been attempting to take videos for much less. So I appreciate all the people that have subscribed. I'm pushing 400 subscribers and I would love to get to 400 by Thanksgiving. So if you're watching this channel and you're haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and you can watch this guy continue to develop. And I do believe I have a playlist on this guy, so I will add this to that playlist. And like I said, this is the very first tree I ever worked, the very first video that I ever posted. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment, tell me what you think about the finished product. I think this guy needs to come down just one little touch more. And like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, and we'll watch this guy continue to develop, because it's still a young tree. In 5 or even 10 years, this tree could just look so old and so craggy, and as it develops more and more, as the pads develop. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.